Hello and welcome to the current home of University of North Dakota basketball, the Betty Engelstad Sioux Center in Grand Forks, North Dakota. I'm Paul Ralston and we welcome you to this three-peat special on UND Insider, celebrating the 20 years since the completion of 3 consecutive national championships by the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux in 1997, 1998, and 1999. It's my privilege to welcome just a few of the key components from those that participated in the 3 championship games, which will be the focal point of tonight's feature. Head coach Gene Roebuck, Tiffany Pudenz, junior and senior guard on the 97 and 98 teams, Katie Richards, a freshman, sophomore, and junior guard forward on the 97, 98, and 99 teams, and Cammie Winger, sophomore, junior, senior center on the 97, 98, and 99 teams. This program, we hope, will offer a fascinating look and perspective from the players and Coach Roebuck himself, and as we highlight these 3 championship games, we will start first with the championship game of the 3 to be played on the home floor of the Fighting Sioux on March 22nd, 1997.
The head coach for North Dakota is Gene Roebuck, while Chance Dugan is the coach for Southern Indiana.
Do you remember exactly what Coach told you before you took the floor of the last huddle, before this started to happen?
Don't lose.
Well, I just remember hyping it up. They said that they were faster and better conditioned and more of a running team than we were.
And of course, they apply that full court pressure. What do you remember about the start of this game? It was kind of a little help. I mean, it was helter-skelter essentially right from the get-go.
I think right away your nerves kick in and your stadium is full. Hislop was full. People were screaming. You didn't want to make a mistake, but many mistakes were made. I think once we just slowed down, made a few shots, I think everything started coming together.
I agree, because when we even stepped out and we were doing open extra, I think we even, everybody said to each other, the floor is vibrating. Because people were so, jumping around, cheering. It was just intense. It was fun.
Dakota. And they will run. They can't get it to go in.
Well, we didn't start very well.
No.
2 turnovers right away.
No productivity out of their offense so far. Southern Indiana controlling the tempo of this game with their team.
What I remember is that they were fairly confident, and there's Chance Dugan.
Yep.
They were really confident that they were going to, beat us on our home floor. And I think that motivated our players right there, because the day before they had the coaches talking and all that stuff, and I think that that motivated our players. But there again, if you look, we are a team that plays together, stays together, and when push comes to shove, we're going to shove.
There's Kavanagh right there, Fargo native.
Boogie.
What did she add when she was on the floor, Coach?
Alicia, well, right there. She's a player that didn't score a lot, but she'll get rebounds and she goes to the offensive boards. And again, you have to have players that are contributors, and you got to have scores. And Alicia was a player that's very unselfish, and she was a contributor. Now that's a great play by Tiffany.
Weber having made the mistake at the offensive end, missing the long 3.
They talked so much, I think, going into this game about how Southern Indiana was going to run, but I don't think people gave you guys enough credit of how well you ran the break all year long. You were such a great running team. Your outlet passes to your finishing, and Tiffany, I think that was, you finished that one, but I think just as a whole, your team ran really well all year long.
Well, it's pretty easy when your post players can outlet it and you're halfway down the court, and then you can outrun them.
And you got a great point guard, and you got a great 2 guard, and your 3 position will run the floor, and then you got such an unselfish player and such a great player as Jenny Krause. And you got all that stuff. I mean, Jenny she really doesn't care if she scores, although she scores, but giving it up to a teammate is the same as scoring for Jenny. And
I forgot that you were down with about 8.5 left in the first half here. I forgot you were trailing until I actually looked back at this.
Well, I just know when they were pressuring us in the beginning, we weren't getting it to Jamie, who it needs to be in her hands.
There's Cammie.
yeah. Cammie Winger. She could jump 3 feet straight up. And that's one of the things that I saw with Cammie, is she had a great vertical, and she's a great teammate.
You're just kind of you're a river.
I didn't always guard my person. I kind of cheated.
You're a little gambler out there with your defense a little bit.
Well, Tiffany's a gambler.
Yeah.
And most of the time she's going to win those. And when he comes down to, if you need something done, Tiffany was going to do it because she was our leader.
The crowd thought there should have been a foul called when she fell on her back foot and she rolled and didn't want to give up the travel. Nice little baseline move. Getting her own rebound and setting back up inside, outside to Freeland, but the great steal by Pudenz. Pudenz, nice little soft touch off the
Can't beat that.
No.
Can't beat that.
That's just natural ability.
Here's the third consecutive three.
Not afraid to put it up from outside.
Got the green light from beyond the arc.
I think a lot of our running came from us knowing each other so well too. Like we just knew where everyone was going to be on the court. Yeah.
The thing that I look at is how hard we were playing at that time. I mean, we were not going to let things get away. We were playing so hard. We made our chances. We took care of the ball pretty well, but we also got in the passing lane and made steals and turned it into scores.
Thanks, Katie.
I think they misidentified you. Gave Jenny quick shout out, Katie. That was you.
That's all right.
That was a freshman right there.
Over the top of that front line, and then they're going to have the numbers if they can beat the first trap.
Seitzer to T-Bool, down low, can't hang on. Weber loses the handle, and here comes Cabinet. Draining the three is Kelly Britz.
So that is definitely her spot on the floor, and then Jamie Pudenz.
One of your seniors there, Coach, hitting the corner
Britzy,
three.
yeah. She scores and she runs down the floor, her hair is shaking like a wounded duck. But I got to give Leisha some kudos there too, because she was kind of an unsung player, and she was so steady, and she played good defense, and you know, she made plays.
You're heating up, Katie.
That's a freshman, like I said before.
With 3 seconds. 5 seconds to get something going for Southern Indiana.
When I was watching this earlier, I wanted to get your thoughts on that score at the horn by them going into the locker room. What was any thoughts on that when they got that last one right before the? And that sometimes can play as momentum a little bit.
I don't have any thoughts other than we need to come out in the second half and take control of the game. And I think our athleticism took over at the end of the game, and I think that's what made the difference in the score, is we had better athletes on the floor. And they worked really hard, and they were a good team, but I think we had better athletes.
Been a factor for Southern Indiana. They've been able to score some buckets off of that pressure as Eileen Weber converts off the offensive rebound.
More pressure once again, and North Dakota, you would think, would have talked about this at went at it in the first half.
You would have thought we would have talked about that at halftime.
But no.
I have no idea, but
I think he was talking about the press
the
again.
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, we weren't getting it in the right hands. Jamie wasn't getting it.
No.
Because I wasn't going to dribble it up.
The best press breaker you have is to have a good point guard. And I was very fortunate in 25 years to have great point guards. And Jamie is one of the best, if not the best, point guard, because she can break a press, she sets the game up, she calms the game down when you need it, and she puts the ball in the right place all the time. And that's a freshman. That's Jamie as a freshman.
I was going to say, that was a nice look, Tiffany, to a teammate.
Weber doing a good job down low on Krause, pushing her off the block.
Wow.
You know, Gene Roebuck said that Kelly
I think just the quick passes on our offense to get everyone open. Just
Yeah,
not being selfish.
Like no one, like there wasn't an eye on our team. And they were good at it.
I think a lot of coaches, and you can even say in the NBA, say ball movement, ball rotation, getting the ball on the other side. And these guys are so unselfish that they didn't care who scored. They would move the ball, they'd get it to one side, get it in the other, and then all of a sudden there's Jenny Krause or Cammie Winger.
Yeah.
But Winger and Richards have done beautifully in her absence. And so has the freshman, Jamie Pudenz.
Pudenz knew there wasn't any help coming from the base.
I never thought of Jamie's game as kind of into a pull-up, so to speak. I always thought of her getting all the way to the basket, essentially. That was a great play.
That one off the mark. The crowd was waiting for that one.
There's Boogie with
the rebound, an offensive rebound.
And we got a score there.
Yeah.
Boogie does, she does little things, and she always has.
The floor is vibrating. Look at that, the crowd just getting wound up because they can tell it's such a crucial point in the contest.
Nice little look.
There's another
Nance,
good-looking freshman, or good-looking point guard, I should say, Nance, who's a junior, but a first-year player in Chance Dugan's program.
You know, when two sisters get to play together, it's something special. I mean, you know each other. You know where one person is on the court. She just flips it right down low to her older sister. Tiffany buries that little 5-footer.
Great mid-range jump shot. Those are tough to make.
She also was a 4-year starter on her volleyball team.
Did you and your sisters play one-on-one in the driveway or whatever growing up then?
Nope. We
Nope.
did not, because when we tried, we would end up in fights. So we learned just to play with each other instead of against each other.
Sure.
I could have answered that.
She will not alter her game plan. They'll stick with what got them here, and that being the full court pressure and getting it inside and leaving.
Tiffany from outside, and she is going to be fouled beyond the three-point line. That means that Tiffany Pudenz will shoot three, and she shoots 74+% from the line.
You know, I think Chance Dugan is trying to decide right now whether to call a timeout or wait for the media timeout. Definitely sensing her club is struggling a little bit, and now she is going to call the timeout. I think that's a wise move by her to call the 20.
That's the way you can get something.
Even your celebrations were subdued a little bit, just a simple arm raise.
That's what I love about Tiffany. It wasn't like she'd jump up and down and be real happy about a play. And then the next play, she'd throw it away. She was always subdued about that. She just go about her business.
Well, I'm guessing I didn't make cuts. I didn't make many free throws.
Here comes Seitz to Redenbach. Nice little look by Freeland. Holy catch, she can spin.
Dan, you called it right there.
There's Katie. She's got to get the ball.
I think probably a fair share of the highlights in this game is Katie getting off the deck. A few floor burns in your day, Katie?
I guess this game was. I don't know. I don't remember that so much.
North Dakota is in the shooting situation. Tiffany Pudenz couldn't get the first to go of the 1-and-1.
She left Kraus standing still at the free throw line. Big time move for the senior Weber.
She now has 18 points.
Standing still at the free throw line. Big time move for the senior Weber.
Just as a fan, I remember, this was the part I remember most now going back.
Big rebound,
Yeah,
right there.
I remember that a great deal, just sitting in the crowd, because I was just about chewing all my nails off when they made it 74-72, and to get that offensive board, as big sigh.
Continues to make one big play after another defensively.
Nice look down low to Kraus.
You're going to give Kraus that look twice. She's not going to miss it the second time, Dan.
Kraus is shooting 63% from the floor, and that is, comparatively speaking, this crowd is fairly quiet right now. It has been, well, they've been blowing the roof off, and the roof will come off there.
Unbelievable pass.
I think it was just nice you had someone that good on the inside where you can go throw to winger or you could throw to Kraus.
But so many
You
of
just
your
really
players,
grab it.
yeah, so many of your players were good passers, coach, on that team.
All of them.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody to pass to, you look for that player. And that's a big shot right there. Britzy.
Yeah.
And she was jumping up and down and excited. And
Ellie's trying to be like, come on now. Still got some game
we were too.
Under 4 to go.
Been on a tear, an 11-3 run. Free throws up to that point.
God, we played a 2-3 zone.
At the end,
I don't remember that.
what we did is we changed our defense, and that's what helped us a lot, I think.
Slowed down their possessions a little bit.
Well, it made them shoot from outside. They couldn't go to the basket, and it kind of confused them.
We've skipped ahead. We're inside the final minute here. And you look at that shot there, that's just one side of the Hislop. And of course, none of you right at this point, well, there's some of you have that feeling, you have an idea.
UC Davis never tried to throw over the top of the semifinal game, but he felt with his height and athleticism that he would have an opportunity to do that.
I don't think I did.
He still looked mad.
You were probably mad at us for being excited.
Yeah. It's not over.
Till it's over.
Exactly. And then there's no crying in basketball.
Jenny Kraus, who really saw limited action in the first half of this game, sitting on the bench early with 2 fouls. Time for Gene Roebuck to clear his bench and say, ladies, each and every one of you had a part in this national championship. Get out and play. Done everything else. She averages 4.5 block shots a game, and the crowd gives their terrific player a hand. The 6'3" sophomore, Jenny Kraus, comes out of the game.
And I have to say, we haven't mentioned Allison Dirk, but she was a tough, hard-nosed player who didn't care if she shot, but she just wanted to play and win. And I got to give her a lot of credit.
That's your first national title. Which brings us to the 1998 National Championship contest held in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And as you can see the bracket, North Dakota beat Bentley 71-56. Then Northern Michigan 79-69 in a rally. That brought us to the championship game, and that was a meeting with Emporia State. And at that point in time, they had tied the consecutive number of wins record in Division II going into the championship game. A game held on March 21st, 1998 at the Convention Center in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Let's dive into the national championship contest, Emporia State of Kansas. Think about all those fans that made the trip down to Pine Bluff for this.
Busloads.
Busloads.
There was, I know, a church bus that was sitting in the parking lot in Grand Forks, And when we won the first game, they took off. And it was phenomenal, the fans we had. And
that also was the year that they rented band instruments. Remember, they created their own band. Marilyn Haggerty played a bunch of instruments, and
and they also a guy brought his. He had a whole stereo system, a big stereo system, so they could play because, like I said, it was a confinement thing, and everybody was there. But that also brought us together, I think.
Because the hotel ran right into the arena, correct?
Walk down the hallway.
Yeah.
But I think it was also kind of cool is one of our fans brought T-shirts that had UND on it, and he gave it to all the staff in the hotel. So they had T-shirts on that said UND.
So the hotel staff, everybody working there had UND
T-shirts, yeah.
Respected conference in North Central with a great rivalry with North.
This is this kind of NCAA championship.
The first game was a real tough game. Bentley played really good defense, and it was kind of a real, Eastern team against us, and they slowed the game down and made it a tough game. The second game against Northern Michigan, I remember that game because that was up and down, up and down. Katie was having a great game, and we were in a real tight battle. Katie had 4 falls, and I remember this distinctively that it was late in the game, and I looked down the bench. And I looked at Katie, and she looked like a big puppy dog. Like, put me in, coach. Put me in, coach. And I went up to her, and I said, Katie, are you going to fall out? No, I won't fall out. She got in the game, and I think she turned the game around. And I remember a pass that she made over to Mandy Arnson, and Mandy hit a shot in the baseline, and that pretty much sealed the game. And that's things I remember, the little things.
You know what stands out to me, in that, just before we tip things off here, Northern Michigan, I think they were from the same region as Michigan Tech, which was the only team to have beaten you that season. So you had to kind of beat a team from that region. And so here you go, you tip it off against Emporia State, and you were saying to me earlier that you guys were essentially, even though you'd won the last year, you were essentially underdogs going into this game, correct?
Correct. They were, I think the hype was all with Emporia State.
Because of the Kashaite twins.
And I got to give NDSU credit because they made us ready for the teams that we had to play. I mean, let's face it, and we made them ready for the teams they had to play too, because when you take the 2 teams that are the best in the country and they have to play each other to get to the national tournament, I think that's a big thing.
Watch span, she's in perpetual motion, but Tiffany Pudenz took it right away. Here's the sister act, but Tiffany all the way, she got it and won.
So key, that's so key for
that was excitement.
Well, what a start in this sense, in a similar way. You had to play early in the game against Southern Indiana where you drew contact, and it's like deja vu.
For a jump shot, but going right in and getting the foul on Kashaite.
I remember in this game, Mandy Arnson was a freshman. I think she had 20-some points and 10 rebounds in that game. And we can get somebody coming off the bench that does that. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Austin, Minnesota native, Mandy Arnson.
Is that Hormel capital?
I think it is.
So both coaches have shuffled the deck a little bit. The pace fast and furious here. And there's the entry passage.
No, I'm sorry, it's a spam.
Spam like museum or something.
Yeah, because these hit what, 2 sisters for Emporia State? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were, one was 28 and one was 29, I think.
Okay.
Were they really?
Lithuanian girls.
Oh, I didn't know they were that old.
They were very good.
And you see North Dakota breaking down that tenacious Emporia State defense by using cutters, using dribble penetration, and getting the ball to the open person.
Then using magic to take a 6-point lead, cut in half by Holloway.
And see, this is the thing. With the Pine Bluff games, I had to watch them from back in Grand Forks. So I was like many fans that didn't have a chance to go to Pine Bluff. But many years later, as I became, as my mentor became a colleague, Scott Swigman told me just how much fun they had. Even though it was away from everybody, he described it the same way as Coach did, as far as everybody was together essentially within the venue.
It was. As a parent now, I would love to go to this if my child played. Because the fans were all together, you were with all the players, so we're all together all the time. It was awesome. Like, I would love to do this.
One of the things that, to me, I take away from this is how Jamie and Tiffany, how they played together so well. You see Jamie taking the ball, getting it to Tiffany. Tiffany's going to give it up when she has to, but they were phenomenal players as far as handling the basketball and also passing on the run and doing all that stuff. And when you got two guards like that, you're in business.
53%, almost 54% on the year. Most of that inside, though, from the free throw line. Nice entry pass. That time, no problem for Jenny Krause.
Love it up there.
Just 10 points in the game and a nice assist by Tiffany Pudenz.
You can't coach the height that Jenny had.
But you can't coach the passing that both Tiffany and Jamie make.
Sure.
That's something that's instinctive.
Behind this year, and another block by Krause. And up ahead, Arnson caught Emporia State
I think she found her sister there.
That was Mandy.
That was Mandy Arnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this was an interesting thing, and this was mentioned in the ESPN part of the broadcast just beforehand about how Emporia was going to really look to run and push the tempo and really look to run you off the floor. They've been doing that against opponents, and it was North Dakota, the Fighting Sioux, that essentially were running Emporia for long stretches of this game. You guys didn't change who you were. I just don't think oftentimes North Dakota got the the benefit of the doubt of being a great running team.
I think when you get those rebounds and then your post outlet to the wings, I don't think there was one person on our team that was a 1, 2, 3, or 4 that would dribble up the ball so the fast break could go.
And I also think that Emporia State had to run. They had to run all the time. Well, when you have Jenny Krause, you have Cammie Winger, you'd be really, it'd be unfortunate to run all the time when you got those players inside. So we ran the ball and we got the breaks, but we also got the ball inside, and I think that was the difference.
One of the things I always had trouble with Katie because I could never pigeonhole her as a forward or a guard. You kind of had exhibited all the skill sets of both. Did Coach ever tell you what position you were, Katie?
She thought she was a point guard.
We called her Turbo Katie.
Huh?
Turbo Katie.
Turbo Katie. No, but that's a great thing that you could play Katie at pretty much any position. And if I remember right, she did play point guard during one of the national championships games or the regionals. And you could play her anywhere.
Just doing some great rebounding inside. Wow.
But Katie had a knack of always coming up with the big rebound here or an effort play there.
Not if Aneta Kashita has anything to say about that. Jones.
Oh, that's a great pass.
Yeah.
This is a great pass.
There's Thompson native, Tanya Jones. And then she redshirted the first championship year, correct?
Yeah.
She was redshirting?
Yeah, she hurt her ankle too, her freshman year.
Which is interesting because, you know, I was a Thompson Tommy. She was a junior when I was a senior. But I don't think Thompson ever played Hope Page.
Yeah, they did.
Did we really?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Did we play it? Okay.
My senior year, Tanya would tell you all about it.
Okay.
I think right here, look at these outlets right here.
Yep.
The ball didn't hit the ground one time.
Yeah. Yeah, we did only once.
Okay.
One time, and that was our senior year, and you guys came to Hope. And you beat us pretty bad.
Okay.
Yep.
Tanya was a player that had, to me, a great pedigree. Ray Jones. Tanya wasn't a great scorer, but she did everything else. She handled the ball, she gave the ball up, and she just played great defense. She was a great floor leader for us.
Adding to the 16-point margin now.
Pudenz is such a heady player. At that particular time, could have easily have run the offense, but notice that she had the lane wide open and took the shot herself.
Shaitai has to give it up, and
You know, I look at our defense too. Like, we trusted each other. That, you know what I mean? We could guard them, and if we couldn't, we knew when to and when not to help.
I think if I was Coach Brewster, I might want to have his players look at this like all 3 national championships, because that's the way you win. You win with a team, but you also win with giving up the ball and making the right passes, making good decisions, and just staying with it. But defensively, our players played really great defense.
Yeah, you mentioned Tanya, not much of a scorer, but there they jumped out to everybody and left the lane open, and you mentioned you just kind of did what was ever necessary, essentially, for the team.
All-time leader in assists at Emporia State.
Your beat at the Shante, keeping it alive. There's that patented hook shot I saw a whole bunch in the semis. 13-point game again. Got to play defense if you have any chance if you're Emporia State.
And what a big opportunity Emporia State had.
Great pass, great shot.
Good screens.
Just giving the ball up, playing within themselves. And we ran a 4-out, 1 in. Obviously, we had Cammie and Krause, but our players had freedom to attack the basket because if they had a lane open, they had freedom to attack the basket. And I've always been very fortunate to have great post players, but I've also had really great guards and players that utilize that system. And they did it really tremendously. I mean, Katie, Tiffany, Jamie, they controlled the basketball, and they made the right decision. They got the ball reversed to the other side, and when you get that reversed, you have an opportunity to get the ball inside.
Saw that sign, the ESPN sign, every Sioux player needs 2 rings. That was great.
It might have been a Mike Mannausau sighting with that sign. Pretty sure it was.
I saw the little glance over there when it came up, so this is not only a visual piece, but also an audio piece, so feel free to speak up when you see that happen.
We see a lot of players or people in the crowd, they're like, oh.
They were there.
They were there, yeah, that's right.
Great vision by one sister to the other, and this will be easy for Arnson.
What a great role player.
There's Mandy again.
Mandy.
Does she reside in Arizona now, Coach? Or I think we saw her down there many years ago.
Arizona State.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that really helped us is we had a guys basketball group that practiced with us, and they were phenomenal. And they helped us a lot because to me, they made us speed up and be able to play under control, but we had to play fast. And I think that really helped us a lot too.
I think they really enjoyed playing against us too because we were really nice to them.
Yeah, I don't think they were. They came back all the time though.
They did. They kept coming back.
Have you kept in touch with some of those players at all?
I've seen them before, yeah.
Well, Darcy married one of them, Darcy Deutsch.
Yeah.
But I always kind of gave them grief because they'd have to go up against our players. And of course they're macho guys. And I'd always say, these players they're going to use you. Yeah. And they had to work at it. And they had pride too, and that really helped us.
Final moments here of your second national championship.
And the score, 76-92.
North Dakota repeats as champion. You got to really respect the way they played today.
Great balanced team, players with all Americans. I love North Dakota's fire, and they came out today and proved that they were a champion.
I wanted the basketball.
In his crew, they're a winner. 92-76 coming up, happy hour from Darlington, South Carolina. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
What happened after that game when you win? So if you win in Grand Forks, obviously you can go out to places that you know, and everybody's in Grand Forks, and you can celebrate for championship #1. But you're in Pine Bluff. Do you go home right away? Do they fly you out to home right away, or do you have to spend the night, or how does that work?
We stayed.
Yeah.
I think we had to go to Little Rock and fly out, but we got the whole night.
Yeah.
And I think Katie threw me in the pool that night, or might have been the next year or something.
Wasn't there a piano player at some point?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
The part of the hotel was open, so you could see off of people's balconies. So I know the fans, the first year we were down there, they had gotten one of the convention rooms, and we all went in there, and they had a big rally for us afterwards and that kind of stuff. They had it before we even went too. They had a big pep rally for us before we walked down.
But they had a bar which was open, but it wasn't enclosed. It was down in the middle of this great hotel, and our fans were so great. It was unbelievable. And I think they partied on that night, and we had a great time.
Until it was time to go home.
Next day.
Yeah. Twice was nice, but this North Dakota Fighting Sioux program wasn't satisfied with just 2 rings. And in 1998 and 99, once again, the Fighting Sioux would find themselves in the season's final contest in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. The Fighting Sioux had to dispatch the opponent they saw in the previous national championship, Emporia State, in the semifinals, 87-81, to set up a showdown with a team that had gotten red hot at tournament time. That was a team in Arkansas Tech. Let's take a closer look at this 3rd consecutive national title for the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux.
The Golden Sons of Arkansas Tech, the Fighting Sioux of North Dakota. Here's how we've arrived to the championship. North Dakota, 2-time defending national champ, had an easy time in. Arkansas Tech really...
You've seen Emporia State the second time around. What do you remember from that game, the second meeting, in this time in the semifinals?
They had a different coach.
Okay.
The first coach, I think, went to Missouri. The second coach, I didn't really appreciate what he did to Jamie, because I just think that's overkill when you got somebody at the free throw line, not Jamie. Jamie's standing outside and somebody's looking you in the face. I mean, this is a championship game. Let's play it straight up.
Yeah. So Arkansas Tech, the opponent for the 3rd national championship.
Arkansas Tech was a very classy team. Good team.
And this is when Jamie had her ankle?
Jamie sprained her ankle in the first one.
In the first
of the 3. Yeah.
So she's already playing on a...
She's playing on a broken ankle.
Okay. found out the severity after the tournament?
After the tournament, because it was all swollen black and blue, and then, yep, she had to have actually ankle surgery to replace the ligaments.
Well, and we lost Mandy Arnson, like I said before, at the right before Christmas, and she was our leading scorer and leading rebounder at that time. And these players came back, and I just got to give a lot of credit to Casey Carroll. I mean, there's a player that came in as a freshman, sat for 3 years, and in this game and this season, she became a player that was very serviceable and became a big asset, because we only played like 7 players at that time. Cammie and Casey were coming off the bench.
You know, you mentioned all these names from Mandy to Casey, Tiffany to Jamie. You don't want to know how I remember them most by is they all worked at Ray Richards Golf Course in Grand Forks.
I did.
Yeah, that was quite a crew of basketball players as counter personnel inside.
I think we all worked at Dagwood's after done basketball team.
That's Casey Carroll right there.
Yeah.
And like I said,
I think she went on a 6-0 run herself right here.
She was like a cricket. She could jump real fast, real quick.
She just waited her turn, Coach.
Unbelievable attitude. I mean,
awesome person.
You have to love Casey, because she'd be the first person at practice, the last one to leave, and she'd always have a smile on her face. For 3 years, she sat the bench. This year, she came off the bench.
These teams don't get television timeouts during the regular season. Today they do, and that could be to Arkansas Tech's advantage. Laura Buss with 4 points. And right now, Arkansas Tech is doing it in the low blocks, and that's a real surprise.
Absolutely. For a team that does not pride itself on having a dominating inside game, Arkansas Tech is flat out getting it done down low with Buss, Harris, Thomas, all of them posting up the North Dakota
Katie might want to have that defensive positioning over.
I think the last 3 defensive positions I went over, to be honest.
But they're 6 of 6 on their last 6 attempts. And Thomas had that one blocked, and that's why he didn't think they could score. Krause has blocked more shots than just about everybody in NCAA history. Only one player, all divisions in NCAA history, has blocked more shots than Jenny Krause.
That's a nice shot.
Spotting up Casey Carroll. 4 points off the bench for the Fighting Sioux. Back to a 3-point ball game.
This team wasn't quite as quick as the other teams that we had. Of course, you had, Tiffany run the floor, and you had Alicia, but they were very, I think, fundamental as far as getting the ball in the right spots.
And here's where North Dakota will have to put it on Arkansas Tech. They've got to get more pressure on the basketball, not allow Arkansas Tech to look around and make the pass they want.
Harris missed, Jones the rebound. North Dakota has not been able to run as much as they'd like. Nice screen, nice finish. The left hand of Tanya Jones.
I think confidence had a lot to do with it too. I don't ever remember thinking that we're going to lose. I always thought we were going to win. Always. Then when we lost, I was just in shock. Like, I never thought we were going to lose.
Well, it happened so few times, I guess, over your career.
We played with basically 7 players that year, and it was phenomenal as far as I can see, is the fact that we could, win a national championship. And our bench was pretty short, but the players that were on the floor really did a great job of playing together. And Tanya is not a great scorer, but she was a great player that could get the ball into the hands of Jamie. We moved Jamie kind of to the 2 guard, and Tanya handled the basketball, and she pretty much ran the offense.
Coach, did you see I made 2 free throws in a row? Did you see it? It's actually happened.
Cammy, all I remember is I came to my recruiting visit and you shot a free throw and it landed in the middle of the lane. I was like, oh boy.
That was probably during a game.
No, it was during practice. It was a shoot around, I think. It's like, oh no.
Well, we know we have footage of that moment, Cammy. So
I know, right?
Yeah.
I should take that with me.
Jones again trying to get it and force it to the wing.
The problem with Jones right now is that everybody in the building knows that she's looking to pass the ball. She's got to grab the basketball, penetrate with the intent of going to score. And then if the defender steps over and helps, then you can always dish it off to the wing.
This must have been an easy game to get up for, knowing that the team that you're playing for a championship had green and gold.
I was just thinking that too. I remember thinking, oh, they have bison colors, I want to beat them.
But you have a girl from Hope. You have Jamie from a real small school. You got Tanya from Thompson. And you got Cammie from Forest River. I mean, we had players that came from small towns and they won national championships.
Got to get it up. The buzzer has not sounded. The light on the backboard went on, and it's a surreal.
Yeah, this team that you played was just really scrappy that year.
They were well coached. He's a great coach. He moved on to D1, but yeah, he was a great coach and really good guy too.
Stats, what jumps out at you?
I mean, I got to look at the shooting. Obviously, Arkansas Tech started off on fire.
You mentioned the previous year, the buses that came down. Were the buses there for the second go-around in Pine Bluff as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Buses, planes, yep.
And the people that worked at the, like at the hotel, they call us the green team.
The green team.
And I think the next year, our team from the south came down and they thought the green team was coming. And like our fans were tipping them big time, took shirts and all that stuff. And I think they were a little disappointed that they thought the other green team was coming.
Well, they had the T-shirts on when the Bison came in.
Oh.
The wrong one. So it was pretty awesome.
Well, was that point guard Katie there?
Every once in a while I tried.
Yeah.
And when she had the ball in her hands, I closed my eyes.
I think we all did.
You never knew what was going to happen.
Element of surprise, Coach.
They're setting their picks on the ball. Now they're not getting a whole lot of movement. They got to get back to doing that.
Mullen backing in.
Nice pass.
To Pudenz.
I mean,
She's playing on a broken ankle.
I just can imagine how much that hurt.
That is a remarkable thing that we just saw there, and you all went to that, is that essentially she's playing on a broken ankle and she's sprinting down the floor and beating everyone to a ball to gather it up and lay it in.
I don't even
And not once she'll limp, but after the game she couldn't walk on her
No, she
foot.
couldn't get off the floor.
I really think that whether it's Jamie, Tiffany, or Tracy, they would have all been able to do that because that's just the way the family is. They were hard-nosed, tough, and competitive, and they wanted to win. So, you know, Tiffany was there for Jamie. I think that was a great thing because Tiffany was an assistant coach, and she was there for Jamie, and I think she gave Jamie a lot of confidence about going out and playing. But the flip side is Jamie had to do that, and that just shows toughness.
With the shot clock running down, she hits an 18-footer.
Had they been doing what they did earlier in the basketball game, which was to set back picks and get those players cutting through the lane.
Pudenz.
Good defense.
Jones got it back, gave it right inside to Richards. And Krause has 20 points.
Was that a winger pass?
Nope, that was Katie.
What?
That was Katie. I was out in the wing.
Oh.
Each of them had a shot and pass it up for a better shot.
Phil Jackson would have been proud of that. Little triangle offense. He's a former Fighting Sioux. Was a great basketball and baseball player for North Dakota.
If those are the kinds of shots that Arkansas Tech is going to be content to get, then it's going to be a short afternoon.
Lob pass to Krause.
I don't have to worry about whether she's going to catch it or not.
No, she's going to have her hands on it.
Just throw it to her.
She'll get it. That's where I was standing in the wrong spot. I'm pretty sure they let me stand on the bottom of the block, and I was supposed to be up a person.
And you got the rebound.
Yep, and they didn't have a clue. No.
Katie was a no, yes player on my team.
I just thought that was Bitsy.
A 13-point lead.
Too many guns. North Dakota just has too many guns. See, we don't see the movement.
This is another good defensive group for you, Coach. I mean, they all have.
I'm so amazed at what I'm seeing right now. You know, obviously, I don't dwell on all these tapes and everything, but I'm so amazed how hard they played and how tough they were. I mean, they threw their body around and they played great defense and they played together and they made the extra pass, and that's all you can ask for. Plus, we had two really good post players.
And that was Jamie's knee going into Tanya's head? Is that what happened there?
Tanya could take it.
Tanya looked like she got rolled over on.
She looks like she's in no shape to return, but it's good to see her up and moving. The Golden Suns need to hit some shots. Nice look on the cut by Kelly Mullen. Her first points of the second half. Husky with the assist.
And Jamie's still going.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Early in the ball game, we got great second line help defense. Now,
A.J. Thomas with the foul. Our Nike player of the game, Jenny Krause. She's headed to the free throw line, trying to add to those 22 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks as she finishes just as one of the most remarkable careers.
She never seemed to me around campus to be very talkative, but was she a talkative teammate within your own locker room and within the context of the team? Was she, you know, did she come out of her shell a little bit within the team?
Yeah, she would talk to us, yeah. Yeah, she wasn't quiet. She was quiet on the floor.
Okay.
I think we kind of all were, though.
To me, it's a great story as far as why she came to UND. She had like 70 Division I schools that were talking to her, and she was from Illinois, and all of a sudden I get a phone call from the coach, and he says, I got this player. She's wants to come to UND. Of course, I get a lot of people telling me, you know, that this player is good and all that stuff, and he said she's 6'3", and that perked my interest. And she came to UND on an unofficial visit, and she was 6'3", never said a word to me the whole time. Her dad talked and that stuff. She wanted aviation, but she wanted to be in a good aviation program. UND has one of the best. And so she had, like I said, many Division I offers, and she had offers from Arizona State, which has aviation, Purdue, aviation, and I didn't think I really had a chance at recruiting her. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call, and this is right before the signing date, and he goes, the dad goes, well, are you ready to sign Jennifer Krause? And I didn't sleep that night, let's put it that way, because she chose the right school for her to get a great education. Now, a lot of kids don't do that. They'll go for the big lights and all that stuff, but on the other hand, when you take Arizona State, you take Purdue, we would get 2,000-3,000 fans at every game. So she was in a good place, and she was the type of person that really wanted to be part of a team, and she really didn't care to be the standout, but she did everything that she needed to do, but she did it so humbly. And Jenny Krause, well, let's face it, she kind of stirred the pot for us for the 3 national championships, but she also had a lot of help.
They were fantastic teams, and as you mentioned, Jenny Krause named the tournament's most outstanding player once again as she led the way, 24 points in the final, capping off a 31-1 season, a three-peat, another celebration at the University of North Dakota and in Grand Forks. As we try to digest here what we've just re-witnessed, let's once again put a bow on this from those directly responsible in collecting these titles and that have given so much to us fans, an opportunity to take this whole wonderful ride again with you. We look back, we've seen these 3 championship games. Is it still amazing to you to be a part of these wonderful times, these wonderful rides, I guess, when you have a chance to look back?
Me first. It is. I feel lucky. Like, I feel lucky every day that I got to be part of it. It's done so much to, like, just the family atmosphere, everything, just being a part of it. Like, I love just being a part of everything, and I feel so lucky. And I've always felt lucky from the very beginning.
I guess that too.
Well, and I want to thank Coach too.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful for him bringing me here.
You probably couldn't say that when he's playing.
No, not when
back to Midway.
Yeah. He would have made me run or something.
No, but
probably might still make you run.
Yeah, I was going to say, be careful.
During the moment, I don't think you realize how much you accomplish as a team and what we did in our years there, and because I think some of the records are still there. Even if without the records, I would say of the 3 teams we had, I still think we're all the closest. We still all get together. Coach might invite us out to his cabin 1 or twice, so we still have that team that I don't know a lot of teams from the University of North Dakota have, but we had that, and I think that's what made us good.
Katie?
I agree. I mean, I think it's just, it was a phenomenal experience from not being recruited.
I had to get that in one more time.
Just one more time. No, I am grateful for that though, because I was in a rock and a hard spot. I didn't know where I wanted to go, and for getting that opportunity to come here, and for a lot of negative things to be said when I was coming here that I wouldn't be able to handle it, and that I would want to be a star of the team. I couldn't have asked for a better place. I mean, it felt like home.
Coach, you see here a lot of common themes. Number 1, home, family, and it's a special group.
The proof is in the pudding. 3 national championships. You don't get there without having great athletes. Secondly, you don't get there with having selfish athletes. We had unselfish players. When I look at those 3 championships, which I haven't dwelled on in the last number of years, I look at the players and I look at the team, and I'm kind kind of looking at how fast they were and how quick they were and how instinctive they were. I mean, they were to the ball. They made the passes they needed to make. And you don't do that by being kind of like, I'm not going to say selfish, but being kind of single type attitudes where I need the ball, I need this. They didn't care. And when you put the pieces together, you have a player like Cammie that came off the bench. She had to play behind Jenny Krause. They're best friends. And Jenny Krause and Cammie love each other, excuse me. And you got Tiffany, one of the hardest, toughest players that you can have. You put her on the floor, you had to live with her practices. You put her on the floor, but she knew every game what you're going to get, because she was what I call is very ornery on the court. You got Katie, emotional. I mean, she's very emotional, but then again, she was also somebody that really, really cared about everybody. I mean, she would fix my collars if my collar wasn't right. She would do all that stuff. Her house was neat, all that stuff. And you got Jamie. What a phenomenal player. Great point guard, great scorer, but they all worked together and they were unselfish. If they would have been selfish, it would have been like somebody needed the ball, but when you see those national championship games and the national tournaments, they didn't care who had the ball. They wanted to win and they wanted to play together. And defensively, like I said, Coach Brewster should probably show that to his team, how hard these guys played, because they played so hard all the time. And we had to overcome a lot because NDSU is a great program. But I also give them credit because every season we laced up our shoes and we went after them. We didn't always get there, but when we did, we had the opportunity to win national championships. And so when you take North Dakota State in the 90s, both of us ruled. And I got to give NDSU credit because that's who we chased until 1997. And then after that, we didn't have to chase them anymore.
Nearly 20 years have elapsed since North Dakota completed this most special 3-year run in University of North Dakota women's basketball history. Once again, this program allowed us to go back, relive, and get unique insights on this truly special run and accomplishments by those directly involved. Coach, Tiffany, Cammie, Katie, thank you so much for helping us re-celebrate each one of these distinct championships. For the entire team at UND Insider and North Dakota Athletics, I'm Paul Ralston, and we hope you very much enjoyed this look back at this very special three-peat of national championships for University of North Dakota women's basketball.